Evening, everybody. I'm just going to wait a few minutes to see how many people jump online. Just checking everything is live and working. So, hello to everyone. Hello. Hello. Looks like a new name. Maziamus. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably totally not. I'm just going to carry on waiting for a few minutes. Obviously, I'll need to do my usual introductions. So I'm a pharmacist in the UK, so anything that I do say will be in line with what the UK information is and the guidelines in the UK. I do know that I will have people from all over the world joining me on these live streams. Also, I do have my disclaimer going along the bottom, so anything that I provide is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you do actually have any personal questions for individuals, please talk to your own healthcare professional, because obviously your own condition, interactions, or the medication needs to be answered by your own healthcare professional. I do know that I only actually gave information yesterday that I was going to be on a live stream, so I'm not expecting many people. Also, I have only done one other video in the last year because of personal things that have been going on, so I've not been able to give this channel all my attention like I used to. Hello, Mum. So nice to see you online. So obviously, as my mum, who is one of the other two people that are online, realised the reason why I haven't been on for the last year is because I was helping look after my dad as he had to go through chemo radiotherapy last year, then had a stroke and unfortunately died. I'm not going to talk about it because I will cry. So, but that's the reason why I've not been on for the last year. But hopefully I should be able to start again fresh this year and get back on with my channel. So it does look like in 2024 I did quite a lot of videos, got my channel right up and was doing really well by September. Then everything went a bit pear-shaped. I've been off for a year, but hopefully I should be back on doing the channel this year. There is the potential that I am not quite sure what my job is going to be in the coming year because the government have made changes. They want to make changes to NHS England and the ICBs that help run the NHS services across England. They say it's to take out management and the management levels, but unfortunately they don't realise that currently the ICBs do actually employ a lot of clinicians. There's a lot of pharmacists and pharmacy technicians in the medicines management teams that provide ground level support for GP practices, as well as help coordinate the information between GP practices and secondary care in the hospitals. There is also a whole load of nurses that work in ICBs in the continuing healthcare teams that help look after the most vulnerable of our patients in the areas. And all of us are up for redundancies, 50% redundancies in the next few months. And it's across the board, the managers and all the pharmacists, nurses and pharmacy technicians. So, and obviously when the discussions are being taken about, we should be getting more of the board members and the higher management being split by 50%, but doesn't always work that way. But I'll try and keep my political views professional on the internet. I think it's still, I do have 4 people on here, so um, nice to see you all. If you do actually have any questions on medicines and supplements or on changes in the NHS, please feel free to ask them in the questions. Also, if you do want to ask me for subjects of different videos for me to do in the future, please let me know. I have still got in the process of writing a video about magnesium supplements. That is still halfway written, which I need to continue with, because there does seem to be some evidence that magnesium can potentially help with sleep and with pain. Often probably because the majority of people are actually magnesium deficient. It's found in green leafy vegetables, and a lot of people don't actually have sufficient in the diet. But then actually enhancing the magnesium for people who have got chronic illnesses who may not be able to absorb magnesium as well and may have problems regulating their electrolytes, there could be some benefit to having magnesium. And magnesium's always been used as a treatment medically for a long time. It's been used for decades for the treatment of preeclampsia. So using magnesium has been, used for a long time. I have had some conversations with an anaesthetist who is very keen on trying to promote the use of magnesium in chronic pain and trying to help reduce people with chronic pain relying on opioids, because opioids are not a long-term solution for people with chronic pain. Works great for acute pain, works great for cancer pain, but for long-term chronic pain, unfortunately, opioids don't provide the pain relief, and they do have long-term side effects, build up of tolerance, chasing the doses because of the tolerance. But unfortunately, the side effects become more problematic than any pain that they were actually treating in the first place. I've done videos in the past on chronic conditions such as asthma, and I've also talked about epilepsy and migraines and such like in the past. But if you name a subject, and I can look at putting a video together on it, or on a live stream where I answer all your questions. Yeah. Yes. Maximus. Yeah. Opioids are horrible for chronic pain. You might provide a little bit of relief in the first couple of weeks, but you get tolerance to them, and then the side effects just take over. Hi, Tanya. Great to see you back again. I know you've been one of my long-term subscribers right from the beginning, which is great to see you again. I guess mainly this is just going to be a little bit of a chat. I probably won't stay on too long. Just want to sort of get this get this video out there, allow people to know that I'm back online, and I'm back to processing with my YouTube, and get that feedback, and start to get the subscriptions back up. I'm not being very good at multitasking here, but yes. Yeah, so any of the 5 people that are online currently have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. One subject that I've done a lot of talking about with friends recently, and obviously the majority of my friends that I have are ladies in their 40s, so the biggest subject that's been around at the moment is HRT. I am going to be honest on here. I myself have started on HRT, and it has been a game changer. After living with a teenage daughter, my patience wasn't what it should be with a teenager. So she was one of the ones that was very grateful for me to start on HRT, and it did help solve a lot of the issues that I was having. So that is something that I'm willing to go deep dive in on, obviously, there are some risks. Any medications come with risks, but there are so many benefits. If you think of when you're getting older, if you were to actually have a drop in any other hormone, say your thyroid hormone or your insulin hormone, any of those to drop, you would go and you would get the medical treatment to fetch them back up. Biologically saying, in nature, historically, we wouldn't be having women that would be getting into their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Life expectancy wasn't that historically. It is now, and we need to be able to make sure that as women, as we live into our 60s, 70s, and 80s, we can do that as healthily as possible. And with a drop in estrogen, whether it comes naturally or whether it's forced due to other complications, maybe a hysterectomy, it does mean that our bodies start aging quicker than they should. Keeping estrogen levels higher can help us keep our bone mass, help us keep our muscle mass, which will help us in the long term stay healthier for longer. And that's what we really need to be doing, is making sure that we have that quality of life as we get older, that we can still carry on doing what we're doing. Hi, Tanya. Yes, I've not been very good over the last year with my own health, as well as helping with my family. I did get shingles last year, which was not pleasant, and it was due to stress at work and stress at home. Having that. Luckily, I don't know whether I don't think you're in the UK, Tanya, but in the UK now there is a thing that if you get some of the common conditions, the 7 common conditions, that if you get them, you can actually get treatment from your local pharmacy, and shingles is one of them. So when I noticed that I was coming down with shingles, I phoned 111. I explained how I was getting a headache, a really bad headache, really sore scalp, and what I thought to start with on the Wednesday, I thought that they were zits that I was getting round on my forehead and into my eye, and then obviously by about Friday I twigged they're not normal spots. They are actually shingle spots that are coming out because of the pain that was then on the scalp and in my head. And I just felt absolutely exhausted, like I was, coming down with a viral infection, as it is. So I had that, had all the symptoms. I phoned 111, went through all the process of what was going on. There was no red flags. It was just pure shingles. And they was able to tell me which my local chemist was for me to go down and talk to the pharmacist. I talked to the pharmacist, who was lovely, explained that I was a pharmacist as well. We had a good chat. He explained that he got shingles during COVID. So we had a great chat, and he was able to give me the antivirals, which is 7 days treatment of 5 tablets a day of the acyclovir. But it did take me a good couple of weeks to get my energy levels back after having it, and it did take a long time for the sensitivity on my scalp to disappear. But I was very lucky. I started with the spots and the symptoms on the Wednesday, a headache on the Wednesday. I was able to start the antivirals by the Saturday morning and get the treatment. So that did a long way to actually reduce down the chances of me actually having long-term problems with it. I know of many other people who have not got the treatment that quickly, and they end up with such horrendous pain. And the post-herpetic neuralgia with shingles can be really debilitating for some people. And it can even then trigger on other long-term conditions. I then was lucky enough just before Christmas to also get COVID, which wasn't fun. So I think with just the stress of everything I've been through was kept my immune system down. So I'm doing much better now. I'm getting myself back into a routine of going swimming once a week, going to the gym. I even signed up for a Pilates class, and I'm trying to sort of balance getting some exercise in with with my chronic condition. As those that have known before, I do have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. My joints are hypermobile. I can do all the bite and score. So it's a balancing act of ensuring that I do enough exercise to keep my muscles strong, but not overdoing it and ending up crashed out. So hopefully that's a quick explanation of how I've been, Tanya. I think one of the other supplements that I am going to do a full video on is creatine. It does have a lot of the bodybuilders putting a lot of information on it because it's been used by bodybuilders for years to help with the increasing of muscle mass. But there has been some recent evidence to actually show that for women, and in particular perimenopausal and menopausal women, that it can actually help us keep our muscle mass going through as we age. And there's also been some small studies that have shown that it probably helps with cognitive function and keeping our brains healthy, because of the way that creatine acts is on energy production, and it is also the same pathway for energy production that the brain uses. And so having creatine supplements can help with brain fog and keeping that cognitive function going. So it's quite interesting research. So only early on. It's not a major cure for anything like Alzheimer's or dementia. It's just something to help a little bit with brain fog going forward. But it, as with a lot of things, it's a lot of healthy eating and just supporting our body as we get older to do the best we can. The only downside with creatine is people do seem to think it has an effect on your kidneys. If you've got healthy kidneys, it's not going to do any damage to your kidneys. However, it can cause a false kidney function test, because creatine is broken down into creatinine, and creatinine is a one of the blood level markers that is measured to give an indication of renal function. And if you've falsely elevated your creatinine level because you've got excess creatine either in your diet or as a supplement that is being processed and transferred over to creatinine, it can look as though your kidney function isn't as good as it should be. But by having a week off it before you have a blood test, or by letting the GP know, and they can do a different test, but I don't think that's going to happen very likely. There's not many GPs that are up on the different renal function tests. They will just look at the false creatinine. But there's other supplements that can also affect blood levels. Things like biotin, which is a vitamin a lot of people take for skin and nails, even though it doesn't particularly have that much evidence. But taking high doses of biotin, which is one of the B vitamins, can actually falsely impact your thyroid function tests as blood tests. It doesn't alter your thyroid, but it just falsely alters the blood test results. And it's interactions like this that people need to be aware of when they're taking supplements that they might think are totally benign. Think, oh, it's only a vitamin, it's only a supplement, but they can actually have an impact on blood tests and on other results. As I always say, there's always interactions that you can have. One of the big obvious ones is, well, warfarin interacts with everything, and the vitamin K is the antidote to warfarin. So people can think they're being healthy, taking supplements with vitamin K, but they're on warfarin and it stops the warfarin working. And then there's other things like St. John's wort that people take for depression, but it can actually it metabolizes in the liver along with a lot of other medicines that it metabolizes in the liver, and it can actually prevent contraception working. And obviously, if you're no longer having your contraception working and you get pregnant, that's really going to have a detrimental effect on your mood if you weren't planning a pregnancy. So there's a lot of interactions with supplements that need to be known about. Okay, so still looks like it's the the same 5 people online. I did expect it was only going to be a few, so I am probably going to just keep this as um, a quick live. So anybody who comes and watches this live stream on the replay, if you can say hello into the main comments and let me know if anything that I've just rambled about is of interest in a proper video, let me know, and put those comments in there so that I can get this channel started back with all the subjects that are of interest to you. I know there is quite a lot of new pharmacists and doctors that are on the online space now, and I think it's quite important that actual real healthcare professionals do continue to be on all the social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, because AI does seem to be taking over, and there's a lot of people that either are using AI to answer questions, which may take them down the wrong path, or they don't even realise that some videos are AI generated, and if the video is AI generated, we've got no idea on what the background is. And the whole use of AI in healthcare is a big subject at the moment. I have started using Copilot quite a bit myself for work, but it's needing to know the limitations of it. I don't know if anybody's seen, but there's the viral skit of somebody asking ChatGPT how many R's are there in strawberry, and ChatGPT keeps insisting that there is two, even when you say it goes, there's one at the beginning and there's one at the end, and it even spells it out: STR1AWBERRY, and it'll still then say, oh yes, there's two R's. So the AI is only as good as the information you put in. I do have my own Copilot profile that I've set up at work, and I've let it know that I'm a pharmacist, and that when it tries to get me information from the internet, that it fetches me stuff that meets a minimum threshold of critical appraisal and evidence based. But it's only searching online, finding what it can and fetching it back, which is the same as just doing a Wikipedia search, which is only as good as what somebody has originally typed in there. Doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate and has had that peer review and the understanding analysis of it by a professional that actually understands the information. So AI is a useful tool, but it's not the be all and end all. It still needs a human person to actually understand it and have that overall context of what is being said. Just keeping an eye on the comments. It still looks like it's the same 3 people in the comments. All right. YouTube seems to have a new feature of showing me who my top commenters are, so it's quite useful. I do need to get back on with this. I've logged on StreamYard, which is the program that I use for doing my live streams, and again, it looks all different. It's taken away a couple of my previous functions, and it's got a whole load of new functions which I need to play with. Again, with YouTube, I need to have a look at all the advancements and see how I'm going to get on with them. So if there isn't any more questions for this live stream, I will wrap it up rather than just keep rambling, and hopefully I'm going to try and aim for doing at least one live stream a month. So let me know what you would like in a February live stream, and I will start putting together some background information for me to go through. So great to see the 3 of you online. Well, the 5 people online and the 3 that are in the chat. So, and hopefully I'll see you all again in a month's time, and I can have something prepared where I actually go through a full subject with you. Thank you very much, everyone.